Welcome to my home yoga studio. I'm here with Sasha and Taya. I'm here to introduce our new video series, The Path of Light, Yoga as Medicine. And I named it this because I believe that yoga is a light on our path that brings us more health and vibrance, not only in our physical bodies, but our energy bodies and our feeling self and our thinking self. As well, I believe that yoga is medicine. Anytime that we can take even 5 minutes out of our day to breathe and open up our bodies wide, it changes our moods, it changes our body chemistry. So your first tip is one that I've talked about for years, but I feel like I need to remind myself of this, and so I feel like I need to remind all of you of this as well. A habitual pattern in life is that we start to close the chest and heart region, close the throat, and round our shoulders forward. In yoga, many of the poses we do encourage us to open ourselves up. One of the main ways that we can do this by focusing on one simple thing is the sternum bone. So if I think of the sternum bone as a way to help me open up this entire region, it would be to imagine, this is one of my favorite analogies, is to imagine that you have a puppet string attached to this tie-shaped bone right here. And that when we're in this pattern in our practice of yoga and we just lift this bone 10%, you can just see what happened. I was here, and now I lifted 10%, my head came up, my chin came parallel, my shoulders came back, and now I can begin to open this region, these pectoral muscles. If we're looking today at Marichyasana C, and just from the waist up, there are many things we can look at in this pose, but just this factor. I notice my students a lot of times, and myself, get into that same pattern we do in life where I'm twisting to the right in Marichyasana C, and instead of opening up my chest, it's closed, my chin is slightly tucked, and my shoulder is rolled down. Oftentimes we're trying to wrap in this pose, and in my effort to wrap, I lose the benefit of the pose, which is really about opening and lengthening. So rather than worry about wrapping today, we're just going to bring the right arm behind us where Taya is, and I'm going to lift that sternum bone 10% and move the right shoulder back, my pectoral muscle behind me. So I was here, I lifted my sternum bone, I pulled the right shoulder back behind me, and now I'm going to breathe in and out. So a very important tip for today is to really pay attention to not just your gaze, that's going to be helpful to see where we call that a drishti, but to think of where my chin is in alignment with the floor is going to open up this throat region as I lift the pectoral muscle. These two work together rather than closing. The simple movement opened up my throat, brought my chin where it needed to be parallel with the mat, and then I was able to do this work in my shoulder region. So thinking of that as your tip today for your yoga asana. For Marichyasana C or D, that's a perfect one to think of lifting, pulling the shoulder back, stretching the throat, keeping your head in perfect alignment. And then take this off your mat and into your lives. To think of just 10% in a habitual pattern of on your phone, on your computer. Even when we're driving, sometimes I know I'm looking forward when I drive, but this region can still be closed if I think of just lifting that muscle, even 5%. I've just been here and I lifted it up and pulled my shoulders back. If I'm sitting on the couch at night watching TV, to lift that muscle, to lift this bone and pull the shoulders back is a game changer for our energy, for our breathing, for keeping our body healthy, and also keeping our thinking mind healthy. It gives us more energy, can lift our mood. So take my little tip today out of your yoga room and into your life.